sad when a mother has to speak the words that condemn her own son, but I couldn't allow them to believe that I would commit murder. They'll put him away now, as I should have, years ago. He was always bad, and in the end he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man, as if I could do anything except just sit and stare, like one of his stuffed birds. Well, they know I can't even move a finger, and I won't. I'll just sit here and be quiet, just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Hi, this is Trepacer, and since it's Saturday, why not continue my tradition of reviewing two movies. I watched two movies today, and they both were 3D, even though I don't have 3D TV, but they're 3D movies, actually. And one is the not the first 3D movie, but I guess the first mainstream, I guess, 3D movie. This is The House of Wax, 1953 version, Vincent Price. Okay, and then this one is My Bloody Valentine 3D. This is a remake of the 1981 movie. Okay, I think this came out in 2000. I think it was 2006, or was it? Yeah, no, 2009. Excuse me. Okay, so let's talk about the Vincent Price one first. Okay, and this one, of course, there was a remake, but not really a remake, I guess. But we'll talk about this one first. Okay. Kind of both movies were well, this one's original and that one's a kind of the remake. Anyway, this one, Vincent Price plays Professor Henry Gerard, a sculptor, a true artist whose sculptures are like lifelike, and he specializes in like historical, sculpting historical figures like Marie Antoinette and Joan of Arc. But he has a greedy business partner named Matthew Burke, who basically wants more money on his investment because they're not really drawing that big a crowds to their museum, because he doesn't have anything that's really like horror related, really, or more macabre, I guess. And basically, Gerard tells him that, listen, I have somebody coming to look at my sculptures, and he's going to invest. And once he invests, I'll buy you out, and then you can go. But when after Gerard meets with this prospective client, and the client actually has to go away for 3 months before he comes back, his partner Matthew Burke basically goes nuts and goes, yeah, you know what? I want my money now. So this place is insured for $25,000 now. Let's burn everything, and he basically starts to light everything on fire. Of course, it's Henry Gerard is distraught, and they start a fight. And meanwhile, the stuff starts to burn, and they have this fight, and Gerard gets trapped. Actually, Burke escapes, and Gerard gets trapped within the wax museum, where everything explodes, and he's presumed dead. Okay, and of course, Matthew Burke, casts after about 18 months, the insurance company pays him the money, assuming that Gerard is dead. Okay, and then you see, and this is going to be some spoilers in this, okay, and then Matthew Burke, as he's celebrating, he's about to get married and go off, he's murdered, okay, by this mysterious figure, okay, and then later we find out that Professor Gerard has opened up a new museum, he's about to open up a new wax museum, but this time, you see, he's confined to a wheelchair because of the fire. His hands are ruined because of the fire. But he actually has students that work for him, and they make lifelike wax museums. And this time he does have macabre horror wax figures in his museum, and it's a big hit. Okay? But then people start getting murdered. Okay? And then, there's an investigation, And let me just say that Vincent Price, like I said, is just tremendous in this movie. Like I said, he's this Professor Henry Gerard, this artist who you can tell by his words, and he's absolutely loves, sculpting these features, and he's obsessed with, doing historical figures, and in particular two, Marie Antoinette and Joan of Arc, and that plays into the plot without spoiling it any further. Okay, and like I said, people start getting murdered, and then there's investigation, and the whole atmosphere of the movie is really good, and then the wax figures are absolutely beautiful. And like I said, Vincent Price gives a great performance as this Henry Gerard, this artist who basically gets his work ruined and his life ruined, and then he comes back, and then murders start happening. And Vincent Price, like I said, gives a great performance in this. And you also have Phyllis Kirk as Sue Allen, and then a young model that Professor Gerard wants to use to make his Marie Antoinette sculpture, which he's obsessed with. Okay, and then you also have not a cameo. You have Carolyn Jones, who played who was in the Addams Family. She plays another young model. Okay, and I don't want to spoil what her part is, but her part is very key to the movie. Okay, and like I said, I would give this one, like I said, I love the atmosphere in this. This is in color. Okay, and you can tell the scenes that are 3D, even though I don't have 3D, but you can tell the scenes that are 3D. Okay, but like I said, this movie is like 88 minutes, so it moves, and it's suspenseful, and you can tell Vincent Price, because he had a real-life love of art. You can tell it in the way he acts, and it's a really good movie. I definitely would highly recommend this, and I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's a real good horror movie. Okay, basically about an artist who basically gets his work ruined, and basically later comes back, and then, like I said, murders start happening, and then the rest of the movie, without spoiling, to see how it plays out. And it's really, really good. And like I said, Vincent Price is sympathetic in this movie, and then without spoiling it, you have to see the rest of it again to see how it plays out. And it's, again, good atmosphere. Vincent Price, good acting from him and the rest of the cast. So I definitely give it an 8 out of 10. Okay. Okay, and I know they did that crappy, remake with Paris Hilton, which really, this, is nothing like this movie. So I don't want to talk about that one. But anyway, now speaking of remakes, this remake is from 2009. This is a movie, My Bloody Valentine. This was the 3D one. Okay, and the original one I think came out in 1981, which I saw on cable, I think, once, the original My Bloody Valentine. I saw it on cable. Okay, this is a remake. And this one not more loosely, but follows the story of the original more than I guess the House of Wax in the remake for that one. But this one actually follows the original story with a few twists in there, but it basically follows the real story. Okay, basically it takes place in a mining town called Harmony. Okay, there was a drilling accident where the son of the owner, Tom Hanager, he caused an accident, drilling accident that trapped six miners. Okay, and he even admits it. And then there's a rescue team that goes down there, but they only find one guy alive, Harry Wharton. Okay, but he's in a coma. And then they discover, when they recover the other five bodies, that basically they were murdered by a pickaxe, and they conclude that Harry, basically killed the other five, to save all the oxygen for himself. Okay, and like I said, he's in a coma, and then he wakes up on Valentine's Day, from his coma in the hospital, and then he basically slaughters like 22 people, and including when he wakes up in the hospital, he basically slaughters everybody in the hospital, and even goes back to the mine where these young kids, Tom Harringer and his other friends are partying by the mine, and he basically goes there, and he kills mostly everybody there, except Tom survives, his girlfriend Sarah, his friend Axel, and his girlfriend Irene. They're the only survivors. Okay, and then of course Harry Wharton was killed by the sheriff. But then 10 years later, you find out that 10 years into the future, that Tom Hanninger has left town shortly after the murders, and he hasn't come back until like 10 years later. His father's been dead, and since his father owned the mine, he's come back to basically sell off the mine, and get out of town. And you can tell he's had a hard time, dealing with what happened. And he finds out that his old girlfriend Sarah married his friend Axel, who's now the local sheriff. Okay, and they even have a son together. And then it's Valentine's Day again that weekend that Tom's there to sign the papers and leave. And then all of a sudden these pickaxe murders start taking place, and they think even that the dead miner Harry Warden's alive again, because it's the same, he had the same mining mask on and helmet, and so and he's killing people with a pickaxe, and they think that maybe Tom is doing, since these murders start happening when Tom is back, so they think maybe he did it, or even, like I said, even Harry Warden's still alive, even though he supposedly got killed, even by the sheriff, even admits that they killed him and buried his body. So they think, but then they don't find the body there when they go to look for it. So they think maybe he's still alive. Okay, so you have a few suspects. So anyway, like I said, I remember seeing the original movie on cable, and the original movie I remember it, and I liked it, and I remember the ending. The ending was, without spoiling it, was very memorable. Okay, let me put it this way. Okay, and kind of freaky the way it ended. Now this movie, they kind of go for a more, without spoiling, a logical excuse for the killer. Without spoiling who the killer is, they go for a more logical excuse than this one. But like I said, this one's in 3D, and this had actually some pretty good kills in this. So like I said, do I think this is as good as the original? The original, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it, because especially for the ending, I would say the original is better. Okay, the original slasher movie there, My Bloody Valentine, I think that one would probably be like a 7.5. This one, the remake, I'm gonna give it a 7. Like I said, it has some good kills in this, and they go for a more logical explanation for the killer. Okay, and like I said, you have what's this guy? Jason Eccles, the guy who plays on Supernatural. He's in this movie. He plays Tom, Havinger, the guy who caused the accident and left town and came back. And then you have Jamie King as Sarah Palmer, the girlfriend of Tom, okay, who marries Axel Palmer, played by Kerr Smith, okay. And then you have Betsy Rue as Irene, the ex-girlfriend of Axel, okay. And you have Tom Atkins in this, who's always good to see in horror movies, okay. He plays the sheriff or the deputy, okay. That supposedly murdered the mass murderer, okay. And like I said, it has some good Kevin Tighe in this as well. But you have some good kills in this movie. I actually like this, and I know people give this movie crap for saying that being as good as the original, but I think it was pretty good. I think it's just a little step below the original. But like I said, it has some great kills, and you can tell the 3D parts. I even don't have 3D, but you can tell the 3D parts in this. Again, so I would give My Bloody Valentine a 7 out of 10. Okay, good kills, and the acting is decent in this movie. You have decent actors in this, and the acting is not. But be forewarned, there is one totally gratuitous nude scene in this movie, which is absolutely hilarious. But it's in there, just so you know. Okay, along with some great kills in this. Okay, so I give it a 7 out of 10. House of Wax, for Vincent Price 1953 version, I would give a 8 out of 10. Good atmosphere, great acting from Vincent Price. Good atmosphere. You have a young Charles Bronson in this as well. Okay, he plays a mute character in this movie, but that's Charles Bronson, even though he's not billed as Charles Bronson. I think he's billed by his original name. But again, 8 out of 10 for House of Wax 1953 version, and My Bloody Valentine, a 7 out of 10. Okay? So if you've seen these movies, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments down below. This is Trepacer saying so long and take care.